talking about the participation of Brazil in the World War II, it's important to understand the position of the country and how were the relations between Brazil and the countries of the Axis and the Allies before the war. In 1937, Getúlio Vargas, the president of Brazil at that time, installed a dictatorship through a coup, especially because of the influences of the European immigrants and the popularity of the dictators in Europe. This period is known as Estado Novo, the new state in English, and the freedom of the Brazilian population was taken. Getúlio has a very controversial image. He was a rough dictator, but in the same time was known of being the father of the poor and established the universal suffrage. Besides that, created the workers' right. He used it to admire Mussolini and some aspects of Hitler, since all of them were fascists. He even called Hitler a good old friend. USA and Germany used to be the main commercial partners of Brazil, and both of them wanted Brazil on their side. US started making advertisements to praise the image of Brazil, to make big names have interest in the country. United States wanted to build 2 military bases in Natal, Rio Grande do Norte, northeast of the country, because of this strategical point near the north of Africa, the Parnamirim Field and the BNN, and in exchange they would finance the construction of the CSN, the National Meteorological Company. This event changed the percussion of the side of Brazil in the war. The construction directly demonstrated its alliance with USA. Franklin Roosevelt even said in his speech about Getúlio, a dictator fighting for democracy. Brazilian ships started being attacked by German submarines. These bombs caused hundreds of deaths. Most of the ships were attacked in the coast of the country.
Era o sexto navio afundado. Navio pacífico e desarmado como todos os outros.
August 22nd of 1942, thanks to the Minister of the International Relations, Osvaldo Aranha, Brazil declares war against the Nazi Germany and faces Italy. The declaration of war against the Japanese would happen only in June of 1945, and Brazil would leave behind, at least momentarily, the recognized pacifist and conciliatory character. The declaration of war against the Axis made Brazil mobilize soldiers to be sent to the battlefront in Italy. In November of 1943, the Brazilian Expeditionary Force, the FAB, was created, and soldiers from different parts of the country were called to form a body of around 25,000 soldiers. They were commanded by the General Mascarenhas de Moraes. These soldiers came to be known as pracinhas, little parks in English.
Nós havemos de lutar pra acabar com essa desgraça, pra mostrar ao estrangeiro o valor da nossa raça. Caminha, barco caminha, nas ondas azuis do mar. Caminha, barco caminha, nas ondas azuis do mar. Meu Brasil, ó meu torrão, levo no meu coração, terra que me viu nascer, por ela posso morrer.
The capacity of the Brazilian army was doubted since the beginning of the war, but the Brazilian men went to the battlefield. Nobody knew how to fight. Since the generals to the soldiers, we learned how to fight through the difficulties, said Júlio do Vale, an ex-soldier of the FAB. Between June of 1944 to September of 1945, 25,334 Brazilian soldiers went to Italy to fight against the Nazi fascists. It was there where they showed bravery and solidarity and became, as the Italians say, liberatori, in English, liberators. FAB arrived in Naples. The first troop who arrived in Italy fought in two fronts, the first in the Rio Serpio in autumn of 1944 and the second in the north of Tuscany, in the Apennines. One problem the Brazilian army faced was the color of their uniforms, which were very similar than the German army uniform. They even threw rocks in our direction when we were in Naples, thinking we were the enemy, said Júlio do Vale. The first front action was the conquest of Massarosa and the occupation of Larena, Cambaori, and city of Barga. The first division had to conquest one of the hardest territories to penetrate. Brazilian soldiers had to fight against soldiers from the Axis to arrive in Monte Castelo in Bologna. This is a decisive triumph for the victory for the Allies in the war, the Battle of Monte Castelo. The second troop among the obstacles were, besides the constant threats from the enemy troops, the most severe winter in almost 50 years, averaging minus 20 degrees in the Italian Apennines. Even because of the low temperatures the Brazilians were not used to, no one of them died because of the cold and kept fighting. In Fornovo and Colecchio, Brazilian soldiers fought against the Nazi front and made these soldiers surrender themselves. The Brazilian Expeditionary Force caught more than 20,000 German soldiers in Italy. In May of 1945, the ceasefire was called, and the war in Europe ended. After the end of the war, democracy arrived in Brazil, and Getúlio Vargas lost his power, and for the first time in Brazilian history, the country had its own election.